What is up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Rip the Net podcast. As always, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. We've been enjoying making these episodes for y'all, so the support is really much appreciated. But my name is Eric.
I'm Dre.
I'm Alexi.
And it's been a quiet week, man. But how are y'all doing?
Pretty good. You know, my team, I think I said the same thing last week, but we're continuing to win games. So Chelsea have moved on to the semifinal of the Club World Cup. Like I said, if we win this competition, I'm going to be glazing the Club World Cup till the next Club World Cup, bro. It all of a sudden becomes the most important competition in the world. If Madrid win it, if PSG win it, if Fluminense win it, it's a Mickey Mouse tournament. I'm putting that down right now. So we're going to see how it goes. But tomorrow they play, and hopefully they get the dub.
You know, even if you do hype it up, though, I will say the latest games have definitely been more entertaining and way better than, you know, what we've seen previously. Although that Musiala injury,
Tough.
We'll get into that later. Tough. But that is example number one of why this tournament should not be a thing. So.
For sure. Yeah, I was catching a little bit of the Fluminense versus Al Hilal. Am I pronouncing that correctly? Fluminense, is that correct?
I think it's Fluminense.
Fluminense? Yeah. Oh yeah, it's Brazil.
Fluminense.
Fluminense.
You did the Italian hands.
I was pretending like it's Spanish, man. But I was watching that game on Friday.
I think you're right, actually. Sorry for cutting you off. I think you're right because it's Portuguese. It's more like a Fluminense type thing, something like that.
Fluminense. Okay.
Portuguese,
that
Brazilian.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't even see there was an N at the end. Fluminense. Yeah.
Yeah. So point is, like, I was catching a little bit of the game on the 4th of July on that Friday, and it was pretty entertaining, man. So I will say it's been entertaining soccer, man. I understand your guys' reasoning as to why it's like not an ideal tournament, but I think just the concept of like different styles of football clashing, different playing styles, different players who would otherwise not see each other like face to face. I think there is something to be said about that being an entertaining watch, but I agree with y'all. But speaking of the Club World Cup, man, actually I'll explain first and then I'll pose a question. But there's been reports coming out. We're recording this on Monday night, July 7th, and tomorrow will be the semifinal between Fluminense, whatever, versus Chelsea. And it's a 3:00 kickoff match, which is questionable, but it will be at MetLife. So there's been reports coming out saying that FIFA has cut the price on these tickets, and it's because there's been low buy, like there's been a lot of open seats. And last I checked, the cheapest seat right now is a nosebleed seat for $41, and it's a resale ticket. So people see, you know, even though it's, I think at one point today it was around $20-ish. Looks like those tickets have been bought, but still $40 for a nosebleed seat to watch a semifinal of a FIFA Club World Cup match. I'd say it's kind of a bargain still, depending on who you ask. It's Chelsea. So, and it's a top Brazilian squad regardless. So first off, my question is, would either of y'all pay that price to go to a match?
I mean, for Chelsea, it should be $20, man. No, I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, I probably would. Like, if I were, you know, the stadium was close to me, I would. Because, you know, based off this most recent Gold Cup, you can't trust these American teams, man. We'll get to that later. But, you know, for the quality of football you get for $40, yeah, I think that's a deal.
Genuinely, I'm still considering it till right now. Like, still going. over the weekend, when I was literally checking, it was down to like there's 3, maybe 4 things that slowed me down. Was 1, MetLife is a trek. It's like an hour and a half each way from where I live in Brooklyn to get there. I was like, bro, that's like literally the entire day I'm gonna be spending trying to get there. That's 1. 2, it's gonna be 95, which feels like it's gonna be over 100, humid, and a chance of thunderstorms. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna be in these seats that aren't covered. It's gonna be hot, and then it also might rain. And if it's a thunderstorm, it might get suspended. So then I might, like, which happened in their I think quarterfinal game, or round of 16 game, where that match got suspended for hours. So I'm like, if I'm gonna go out to Jersey, show up at 3, if this game gets suspended, I could be out there all night, bro. It's like, then I won't get back home. I have to travel an hour and a half to get back home after that, in the hot subway after that, bro. That's gonna be tough. And then 3, even after considering both of those things, I was like, it's Chelsea though. How often will I get to see them play for this price? I still might go. And then I went on Ticketmaster, and Ticketmaster wouldn't even let me buy a ticket, bro. Like, the Ticketmaster was just down. Every time I went on there, it was saying like you have to change your Wi-Fi or something, and then they made me sign back into my account like 3 times. I was like, now even after all this,
Yeah, you're hacked now, buddy.
Literally,
They got your data.
After all this, I tried to even buy something, and Ticketmaster, the worst platform known to mankind, won't even let me buy a ticket to see my favorite team. After that, I was like, screw this, bro. But even still till right now, in the back of my mind, I'm like, I kind of do want to go, but I guess here's the 4th thing. If I go and they lose, I'm going to be tight, bro. After considering all the other things, if like, say I went hour and a half, 95 degrees, y'all know I don't mess with the heat. Like, more than the average person, I don't mess with the heat. 95 degrees, I travel out there an hour and a half. Game gets suspended because of thunderstorms. I'm out there till 7, 8, trying to wait for this game to start back. If they come back and then we lose to this Brazilian team, I will lose my mind, bro. So that's the other thing where I'm like, yeah, I don't know if it's worth it. If we made the final after that, because the final's also at MetLife, then maybe I'm considering it. But then I don't think the final is going to be that cheap, because it's going to be PSG or Madrid on the other side, and those tickets, even for their semifinals, are way higher than ours. So yeah, I don't know about that, but I genuinely did consider over the weekend.
Couple things. 1, Ticketmaster sucks, man. I'm so sick and tired of Ticketmaster. I am so over it. I hate the fact that they're like the leading vendor when it comes to these things. So we gotta figure something out, man. I thought they were in court. I thought they had a lawsuit against them, bro. We need action, bro. We need somebody else to take over. Something needs to happen. Game time.
It's a monopoly, man. It's a monopoly. It needs to be broken up.
Yeah, 100%.
And it's the fact I think Live Nation owns them too. So like for concerts and stuff, like, I mean, it's dictionary definition of a monopoly.
Cooked. Yeah. Okay. And I will say, second thing, we need to figure out something with MetLife Stadium, bro, because it is in such an inconvenient part of New Jersey. And you would think it's not that far from the city. If you're driving, it's like maybe a 30-minute drive from Manhattan. It's not that bad on paper, but if you're actually going, the traffic to get in, it's horrible. They need to figure out a new way to allow people in, into a way to allow for cars to get in and out, basically, is what I'm saying. And even like on foot, like if you are entering and exiting the stadium, it is so difficult to enter it and exit it efficiently. So they need to do something about that. I've said this since the Copa America last year. The US is not ready for the World Cup that is coming next summer. It is very scary. I'm actually very terrified to see how things turn out, because I already imagine that we may underestimate the security that will be needed, and that's a whole nother conversation. But like at a place like MetLife, where it is so hard to get in and get out, it's so annoying, and it angers me so much. They need to figure something out. They should take notes from Estadio Azteca, which is like the home stadium for Mexico. It is so easy to get in and get out. It's unreal. But that's a whole different topic. And I will say, in regards to the whole rain, man, I've mentioned in the past that I saw Barcelona and Real Madrid have their little friendly match at MetLife last summer, and it was a great time, but it did get out for about an hour and a half, and we were up in the nosebleeds, man. So if you're up watching it from outer space, you have a shot at being covered, but you got to get at the tippy top to make sure that your seat doesn't get wet. But I will say, man, the time that I was there, even if I sat up way high, it was still a great time. You can see we were sitting at midfield, so it was still, we could see the entire thing. It wasn't like, it wasn't like a baseball game where you really can't see something if you're out in the nosebleeds. So you have that. I would personally encourage you to go. Had I not had a lot of things to do tomorrow, I would have gone with you. But it's tough. It's a rough week.
Hey,
But
man, I'm gonna narrow it down to this, man. You're not a real fan if you don't go and support your club. That's all. That's all. It's that simple, man.
You thought I'd get baited by that, bro?
With my fandom to the mandem.
Hell no, bro. No,
Yeah.
They gotta finish top 2 in the Prem for me to go out there and 95 degree weather and rain. Genuinely though, I really am still considering it. Like, if I
think you should still go.
I've been checking the weather forecast all day, and it seems like the thunderstorms are getting pushed further and further back in the day. So if I see it's going like past, the game should end by 5:30, hopefully. If I see
Before that.
Yeah, it was 45 halftime. Yeah, by 5. If I see the thunderstorms should not be coming before that, I think I'll actually go. But if I see any hint, I've had really bad luck with rain these last few weeks. If I see any hint of rain in that 3 to 5 period, not just rain, the thunderstorms. I don't care about rain. The thunderstorms in the 3 to 5 period. Hell no. Especially if I'm on my way and then I see that it just switches up like 95% on the weather app, I'm gonna lose my mind, bro. But I genuinely am still considering it. Also, don't want to get beat up by these Brazilian fans, bro. So I might not wear my Chelsea kit.
You gotta wear a shirt on top.
You know what I'm saying? Like, the Brazilians have been showing out for this Club World Cup. I don't know if you guys have seen, like, all they have the most teams in the Club World Cup out of like any country, I feel like. But I wonder what the qualification process to get in, because I don't know how they have so many teams in, but
Random.
Yeah, the Brazilians have been showing out crazy for their team, so shout out to them.
Absolutely. I think the next thing I kind of want to talk about is, what does this say? Is this more like the fact that these prices have been cut? Do you guys speculate it to be just a bad kickoff time? It's 3:00 on a weekday, or is it lack of advertising or lack of interest? Where would you guys put this?
I think it's a combination. I think the time is one, and that culturally in Europe and just maybe even the rest of the world, if you're working somewhere and you're like, oh, there's a game on tomorrow I'm going to, they'd be like, oh, sick, yeah, you can go. I feel like here it is so much more strict generally, like in the workplace, of like if you could take time off, that sort of thing. Secondly is, I think, advertising wise, this tournament has not had good press from fans. As everyone knows, this tournament is just already just sticking more games into the players' busy schedule. And so I imagine the only people who maybe don't follow soccer and who are showing up are the ones who just hear FIFA. They're like, oh, there's a FIFA game going on. Like, I'll go to that. And I think there's also just the lack of like interest in the US in soccer from like most Americans. I think like maybe immigrants or like first gen families, like where they understand soccer like as a cultural thing, they value it more, they'll show up. But then with the politics of today too, some people maybe won't show up for the fear of what's going to happen, because we've seen what's been happening at Home Depots and all these different places, and that's a real fear that people have. And even for the World Cup next year, I think that's really going to impact like who shows up to those games. Yeah, fuck ice. Yeah, that's it really.
I can't be serious. But yeah, free my people. Anyways, cool. Nah, I'm with you, man. It's tough because I feel like we are at a place as a country where there will definitely be interest for the World Cup. Like, I don't look at the lack of ticket sales and think, man, World Cup next year cooked. Like, no one's gonna go to that. Nah, I fully expect the stadiums to be packed out. I fully expect everyone and their mother to want to be there. But I just think because it's the Club World Cup, it's not, like you mentioned, doesn't have as much press. And to be honest, there's not like those marquee names that people like want to really go out and see. Maybe to the soccer fan, yeah, but like to the average person, like if they don't hear like a Messi, maybe, and I'm sure the final will show out, especially if like Madrid passes. Like, I fully anticipate that. I fully anticipate MetLife to get packed out. You have those marquee names that will sell out. But when it comes to a game like tomorrow's game, where maybe there's not much familiarity with like the Brazilian team, or just Brazilian soccer in general, that may be the reason why there's also not a lot of interest or a lot of buzz. Because I think for the right match, you will see a sellout crowd. But even, I don't know, like daytime baseball games during the week not get a lot of fans because of our work culture. I think it really does come down to work culture for sure. It's tough because you would think that like, man, that wouldn't really matter. But the fact that we saw $20 ticket prices, like I don't think we're ever going to see that.
That's embarrassing, bro. That's embarrassing.
Yeah. Crazy.
Like, they spent so much money trying to make this tournament something notable. It's something like worth something to players, to fans, to everyone. And I mean, I think the ticket prices are, reflecting that people aren't buying it. It's as simple as that.
Yeah. I will give credit to the, like you said, Eric, in terms of the team name value. Like the Madrid PSG game, the lowest tickets for that are still like in like the 160s or so. So I think it's definitely more about the teams than necessarily the competition. I think if the right teams show up, people will still show out. Like, I think even for like those preseason tours they do in the US, when like Man U or Arsenal come, I think Arsenal loves to come to the US.
They do.
When they show up.
Them Gooners love to come, man.
You know what I'm saying? Most unfortunate fan base name of all time, man. I ain't gonna lie. Terrible. But yeah, I think the team does make a big difference. But I actually have seen a lot of good Chelsea turnout at some of these games, but I think one, they've been in different locations. Like, not all the games are at MetLife, so maybe it's different across the country what the turnout is. And two, maybe in those other states and cities, the stadiums are more accessible than MetLife, because then you're not only looking at the kickoff time, but also if like the higher concentration of people going, like say like Chelsea fans in the city or Brazilians in the city who might want to go to a game are in the city or even in the outer boroughs, that is a trek, like for a lot of these people at the time too. So you can't just take off like, or just leave work early to like, oh, I'm gonna go to this game at 3. Like, you have to be like, nah, I'm probably gonna have to take the day off or leave like by noon to try to make it to this game. Like, it's not just like I'm just gonna skip over to the game. Like, you actually have to commit to a large chunk of time to be able to make it out there. So I think these are the kind of things that FIFA isn't taking into account. I think they just see like big city outside of New York. I think they too often consider MetLife New York City, and I understand why, but I think you can't conflate it when you're already struggling in the market. I think you can consider MetLife New York City for football because that's the biggest sport in the country or whatever else. Like, you can't conflate that with a sport that's already struggling to gain a foothold. You have to actually, which is why World Cup Final I'm sure will be fine. I mean, those will be, I assume it's going to be massive teams. I think World Cup has a different kind of buzz around it, but for Club World Cup, especially if you're going to have these rogue teams in there, no disrespect to Fluminense or whatever, however you pronounce it, but I think the turnout just isn't there, which is unfortunate. But hey, man, if it means I can get a little $50 ticket, don't show up. I'll be there. Don't show up. You know what I'm saying? I ain't mad at that. But yeah, that is crazy. It's still crazy.
You should go, man. This is probably my fourth time saying it, but you should go.
If you say it a fifth time, I won't go.
All I'm saying is, if that was me, I'd be there for sure. I'd definitely be there. You're never gonna be able to see your favorite team at this low of a price.
And imagine they score like some banger goals.
Imagine they lose them.
Don't matter, bro.
The
It
thing
don't
is,
matter.
we've been running through the Brazilian, not to dive too much into the competition, but we've been running into the Brazilian gauntlet this competition. This is the third Brazilian team we're facing along, like, since group stage through the knockouts. And the first team we faced was Flamengo. They cooked us. We faced who did we face last week? I already forgot their names. We're facing Fluminense tomorrow. We faced Palmeiras. Yeah, Palmeiras last week, who had Esteval, who's actually joining us, and he scored a nice goal. But yeah, that was a little too close for comfort. I think we were comfortably better, but still, that was a little too close for comfort. And it's letting me know that these Brazilian teams ain't playing, bro. They're not playing, and there's a very good chance they clap us tomorrow.
But that would also be entertaining to watch live.
Yeah, for you.
Not fun, maybe.
Yeah,
maybe not fun, but the quality.
If I was in the UK, and I can get like I would double the price and go in the UK tomorrow, even with all these like outside factors that I'm annoyed by. Because I know the atmosphere, even in a loss, will be fire, and you're among fans who like there'll be chants and things like that. If I go tomorrow, if I hear I believe we will win, whatever, I'm leaving, bro.
You won't get that though. I promise you, the Chelsea fan base, I'm sure, will be popping. I don't know if they'll be popping in the nosebleeds, but they'll definitely be around.
That's what I'm saying.
They'll definitely be around. I would say, like, I've seen. Because I had pretty high seats for, like, I saw Man U play, and the fan base was still very, like, present. They were very entertaining to be around. And same with, like, Barca and, like, Madrid, man. Like, I don't think...
You named, like, the three biggest clubs in the world.
Chelsea is also huge, bro.
We're up there, but it's like 2012 no more, man.
Small club energy, man.
I think it's gonna be packed out with Chelsea fans. Like, the overwhelming, I don't think it's a crazy thing to say that the overwhelming, like, percentage will definitely be Chelsea fans.
Oh yeah.
So you should go. Oh.
Well,
that's
I'll say it a sixth time. Maybe.
I was looking at tickets, but the fifth time it's Raps, man. It's
You know who should go and never touch a soccer ball again, though, is the entire U.S. men's national team, bro.
Great segue. Great segue.
That's pretty fair. That's pretty fair.
Go on.
Gold Cup, bro. First of all, I gotta trash both teams first. No defense whatsoever. Just ping-ponging back and forth. But even then, the US's inability to build anything, it is like watching middle school teams play, bro. Or rather, a middle school team play against maybe a high school team. Like, there are differences in the quality, but at the same time, they're both just so dog. It is so insane to me And I'm glad Mexico won. I wanted them to win from the start because I was like, I can't have this U.S. team winning and then some idiots in America be like, yeah, fuck Mexico, blah, blah, blah. Nah, we couldn't have that shit happening. So I'm glad the result turned out as it did. But my God, as a display of soccer and being a final at that, I know, Eric, you said the Gold Cup is like sentimental to you. So I'm sure seeing the win felt great. But like, bro, the quality is just, I was falling asleep.
Yeah.
So
there's a couple of things I have to say to that. First off, like CONCACAF quality is always going to be horrible, especially if the primary thing that you watch is like European soccer. Like, it's night and day, man. It's night and day. I completely hear you on that. And it's tough. And I think this kind of comes back to why I wasn't opposed to a team like Saudi Arabia coming over to the Gold Cup, because I want to see these teams, because as someone who has watched the Gold Cup pretty consistently, it's always the same teams. It's always a Mexico-US final. It's pretty much always Mexico winning the entire thing. Like, it's really a repeat most times. And so that's kind of why I wanted more teams thrown into the mix, because hopefully that would have added a little bit of variety. And I mean, this year not much happened. Like, same teams came down to face off in the final. And yeah, I think I don't want to be too harsh on the US side, because they did bring their B team. That's not to say that US soccer isn't great. I still think the A team, the primary US side, still lost to the A team in Mexico. I still think we would have gotten a very similar result, but I do want to give credit to the US side, who practically communicated that they weren't making winning a priority by sending their B team to this tournament and still managing to make it to the finals. So I do want to like commend them for that. But as far as like what they showed, it was a hard watch. I will agree with that. I think there were a lot of the lack of, creativity on the offensive side for US was kind of crazy. I mean, you said no defense. I think I was satisfied with some of the Mexican defense. Typically that's what their strong suit is when it comes to just like their play style. And what I will say about the Mexican side too is that it's a transitional period right now. It's hard because this is the least talented Mexican team that I feel like I've seen in my lifetime. And so it's going into it, I wasn't excited to watch solely based on the lack of talent. And that's sounds harsh, but that's me just being honest. The fact that this is not a talented team. And so it was a little bit hard to watch, but it's interesting to see that even the top, like the Mexican A team, still only managed to pull off a 2-1 result against the B team on the US.
And almost an offsides goal.
Yeah. And like every none of the goals were pretty, except for the Raul Jimenez goal that I enjoyed watching.
I actually thought the first goals for both teams were good.
That header from the US was kind of clean.
Yeah, that header was nice.
Okay. Fair.
And the Mexican goal also, I don't know, like shooting at that angle is always kind of sick. But
yeah, okay.
I'm biased, man. I'm biased.
Yeah, it's just like, A team, B team, to me, it doesn't even matter. It's the fact too that this also represents Pochettino's tactics. We're forgetting this man. He's been in Europe, hyped up, joining the U.S. national team, and bro, this is not the Tottenham prime tactics I remember. I didn't see anything there, and maybe he has the tactics and the players aren't capable. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because I saw what I saw on the field, and I didn't see anything notable or special. And like I just think the World Cup next year is going to be just as embarrassing as it was for Qatar, and all the other host teams were essentially, they're pretty much terrible and are out within a few games. So I don't see that changing with the US at this rate.
I don't know, man. I think now here's where I can be Captain Delusional. I think there's a chance, depending on, I think it really will end up coming down to the group, like what group we end up getting. I don't think we're going far, like super deep in the tournament anyway. But we got out of the group last year, not last year, at the last.
You mean Mexico? Come on, man, join us. Join us.
See. Nah, y'all don't get another group. But the last World Cup, we got out of the group, and even then, we had England in our group, which was, I guess, not the most expected thing to happen. And I think if we talk about like those prime Tottenham tactics and stuff, we're gonna need someone to play that Harry Kane role, someone to play that Son role, like people like that. Do we have anyone on that level? Hell no. The US have never had anyone in their history on that level. Like, of course that's not happening. But if he has someone,
Doug, you're forgetting the legend Landon Donovan.
Yeah, Landon bald. Like, get
Clint Dempsey, man, come on, Clint Dempsey, bro.
I like Clint Dempsey, don't get me wrong, but there's just levels. There's just levels to this. Like, they both played. Not Donovan. Dempsey played in the Premier League, and he never could have sniffed Harry Kane's boots in the Premier League. So there's just levels to it. But if we get our, Captain America back, Pulisic, who said he was tired and wanted to, rest this summer, whatever. You should never be captain again in your life. But if you wanted to chill and rest, that's cool. We get him back. He should be like our Son type in that team. And then Balogun, should be our starting striker when he comes back. He's a really solid striker in Europe. It gives me a little more hope. And we missed, like you guys said, we missed a lot more players. McKennie wasn't there. Musa wasn't there. Dest wasn't there. A lot of our top players. But I think tactically, not just the fact that they're better than these scrubs who were there yesterday, but tactically as well, I think that makes a difference. For someone like Poch, who's going to want certain things done, I think you only need like certain quality, but players who have experience playing within these more complex European systems. Like, not just the fact that that Pulisic is better than whoever the next guy is. It's the fact that Pulisic has played in England, in Italy now. He's played within these more intricate systems where the tactics are more nuanced, I think, rather than just kick and run nonsense, whatever's going on. Like, I think that will make a difference. Whether or not we get out of the group, that still really depends on the luck of the draw. But I don't think it's impossible. I still think Poch is really just a payday. Like, I don't think, even when he when he signed for the US, I never thought, this is the difference maker to take us to the semifinals or something. Like, I never thought that. But
I think the media hypes him up like that, though.
Yeah, for sure. Which is crazy. Like, Klopp he went to Red Bull. I'm thinking Thomas Tuchel for England. That's interesting. When I see that, I'm like, okay, a team with the quality of England, with a knockout coach, the quality of Tuchel, that's actually fascinating to me, and it's kind of scary because I never want to see England win anything because the whole coming home thing is hilarious to me. But Poch to the US, like, you're taking a mediocre national team and a coach who hasn't really done too much recently anyway. And no, he did well for us, Chelsea. I'm not hating on Poch. Like, I like Poch.
He's always working with scraps.
Yeah. So I think you got to give Poch something. And to be fair, he has overachieved with scraps. Like, I'll give him that. Like, taking Spurs to a Champions League final, that is one of the best overachievements. It's not going to be spoken about because they didn't win anything, but that is one of the best overachievements of that, like, time period. Oh, yeah. And then the fact that they could have won the league if not for that Leicester miracle season. They, like, Poch did do wild things, but that was also like 10 years ago at this point. Like, it's kind of a while ago. So we'll see how it goes, though. I do think, though, that that game yesterday was absolutely atrocious. You guys kind of nailed that. And shout out to Mexico, man. They handled business. I agree with Alexi. It kind of would have been, you didn't want to see the fallout of a U.S. win yesterday. So honestly, it's for the best timeline that Mexico handled business. And hopefully that wakes the U.S. up for next year, and we at least get some kind of showing, something. I don't care if no one's expecting you to win it, but at least put on a respectable performance. That's all we're asking for. Don't just go, because every other country already dogs on us, rightly so, about soccer. You guys say it's football, it's not soccer, whatever. At least go out there and beat one European team that thinks they're the pinnacle of football. They are, but that thinks they're the pinnacle of football. At least beat one of them, man. One of them. Beat England. England specifically. If you can beat England, oh my god, that would be. If you can beat England in a knockout game, literally football Twitter would collapse. Like, it would be the funniest fallout ever. That's what I need.
It would be incredibly funny, but my god, England would need to have some injuries or some sickness in the team or something, because
for real. Like, their B, their C, their under 21s, their under 16s probably better than
our
18.
Listen, man, one of the beautiful things about the World Cup is that you can get those upsets. You know, I spoke last week about how Saudi Arabia beat Argentina, right? I remember 2018, Mexico in their opening match beat Germany 1-0.
Like the Germany-Brazil, a classic.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, it's crazy because we have such low expectations for our respective countries when it comes to this World Cup. But I will say it has been hard to watch the Mexican side in particular. I think actually I do want to like spend some time and like respond, or like at least like focus on the US, or particularly I think one player I wanted to highlight, or I guess you could say low light, is Matt Freese, man, the keeper yesterday. You guys haven't made comments about it yet, and I would have expected you guys to have done so by now, but horrible goalkeeping, man. It's not like the goals that he allowed weren't like crazy. Like I'm not getting on him for that, but like there were a lot of saves that were very questionable, a lot of saves that he, I guess you could say, like then led to corner kicks that I was just like, you could have just caught that, or like you could have really just, I don't know, like absorbed that shot and not deflected it out of bounds. Like, it was very hard to watch the goalkeeping, and I think you don't typically hear that kind of criticism, but this is that was a really bad keeper, and I think against a stronger side he would have gotten exposed even crazier. So I think the fact that like he didn't get exposed as much is just a testament to the lack of offensive talent on the Mexican side. But that's one thing I definitely wanted to point out, like very questionable goalkeeping.
That's fair, and I feel like it's one of those things where it's like you don't notice it until you don't have it anymore, with regards to like a good goalkeeper who's solid, and it's like you start to very quickly then realize like what's missing when they're playing like that. And so that's kind of what I meant before with like the poor defense. They even went back to the keeper, just like the decision making, the balls that were played, and the decisions they made. It's just embarrassing.
Yeah. Part of why I don't bring him up either is that I don't think he should be starting in our best team either. But yeah, he was absolutely horrendous. I think Matt Turner should be our starter in a ideal world. Not that Matt Turner's the greatest keeper either. He's a backup in Europe for a reason, but I think even a backup quality keeper in the Premier League, just that experience getting game time for teams like Arsenal or Forest or whoever else, I think that alone should make you a starting keeper over freaking Freeze or any keeper who's starting in the MLS. Like, there's levels, bro.
Absolutely. And I do just want to shed some light on, I spent the first, I guess, half of my previous take on the match was just like me just getting on the lack of Mexican talent. I do want to just like also give flowers to the coach, Javier Aguirre. He was our coach back in like 2010. He's the coach that took us to the World Cup, and he got fired and was heavily criticized because it seemed like he had just put in like his favorites, like his personal favorites, or in the eyes of the Mexican media, his friends. Like, there were a lot of like Chicharito, like Javier Hernandez. Granted, he was young at the time, but was on the bench when we got eliminated by I'm blanking on who eliminated that tournament. The point is, like, there was just a really bad showing from and a very questionable decisions from a head coach. He has now returned, and he's honestly turned this turned this team around within the past 2 years. And I do just want to credit him for that. He's been a lot more creative with the people that he's been putting in with the players. There's a couple names like Gilberto Mora, who's a midfielder, 16 years old, man. So interesting. A lot of people are already hyping him up as like, oh, is this the next big thing? But I'm tired of it, man. We've had a lot of disappointing showings from Diego Lainez was a player who had a lot of buzz and then just died off. Same with Chucky, Irving Lozano, Raul Jimenez. It's good to see him back in form. He hasn't quite been the same since that nasty head injury a few years back, but the fact that he scored the game tying goal and had a pretty decent showing at the tournament, I'm happy to see that. And there's other players like Marcel Ruiz, another midfielder who was put in. So all in all, I'm trying to say, and lastly, the keeper. Previously, Mexico did not know another name besides Guillermo Ochoa. We had been taken into the World Cup countless times, I believe, since he wasn't in the 2010, but 2014, and even prior to that, he was our primary keeper. We just weren't taking him to the World Cup. Questionable, I know, but weird. Finally, nice to see another keeper in net, and it's Luis Malagon. So it's interesting to see a lot of new faces. It's good to see that we have a coach that is believing in the new players. So even though this isn't a talented side, I'm enjoying seeing a coach that is willing to take the risks and put in new players. And given how embarrassing of a state this Mexican side was about 2 years ago, it is good to see them at least moving in the forward direction, and I am happy to see that. I expected them to win this tournament. I think they were the most talented side, and a lot of people are they just beat a B team. They should have won. But honestly, if the expectation is for you to win and you in fact win, there's not really much that people can criticize. You got the job done. You did what you needed to do. You handled business, and yes, this team really is maybe what we end up taking to the World Cup. I don't believe will yield any great results, but the fact that they are at least meeting expectation, which is winning the Gold Cup, I'm somewhat satisfied with that. I'm happy to see that bigger picture, and this is bigger picture. I'm happy to see that they are somewhat in the direction of coming back to what they once were, because I loved watching the Mexican side in the 2010s, and it seems like they just fell off a cliff since then. This is a very talentless side, a very talentless squad, but we had players who were performing well and put in the work and met expectations as a team. So even though I am disappointed at the lack of talent, I will say this is the kind of momentum you want when you have the World Cup coming up. Do I think they're gonna do anything? I do not. But at the very least, I just don't want us to get as embarrassed as we did in the 2022 World Cup. That was horrible. I don't want to go back to that. And it's at least showing that we're moving in a positive direction. But that's all I have to say on that.
Fair enough. I can't speak too much of the Mexican Football Association, so I'm not that deep in the weeds.
I'll take your word for it.
This is the one. This is the one bro. When it comes to soccer, bro, this is the one thing I can.
You're
really
locked in.
Yeah, this is the one thing I can speak on. But yeah, if we have any listeners out there who watch, know that I see you.
Viva Mexico, man. Yeah, well, that was fun. I know we have a lot more soccer to talk though. That's not it. 'Cause there's a lot of stuff that we've all seen. Speaking of stuff, Eric, that you can talk about, stuff that we've all seen across the last 20. Actually, I was born in 2001, so look, a little before I was born, but it's the last 25 years of soccer. the greatest, the GOATs, the peak, table one midfielders in the game. As you see here, we're on Uwu Fufu, you know, our go-to site for the World Cups. So we got the tier list and we got the World Cups. And today we're gonna do a World Cup best soccer midfielders 2000 to 2024. You know, there's a lot of ground to cover, but I think we got a decent amount of it covered. If there's anyone, this is randomized, so there might be people in there from super early 2000s that we don't know. We'll be upfront about that, and we'll just pick the other person. So let's see what we got here. Let's see, play. We'll do out of 16, and let's let it rip.
Bang, bang.
Ooh. Interesting start. Okay. To start off, we have Kevin De Bruyne and Michael Essien. Interesting. I mean, okay, very, they're two very different kinds of midfielders. So that's the interesting thing about midfielders. It's kind of hard to compare. You have your 10s, your 8s, your 6s, your attacking midfielders, you know, your box to box, more controllers, tempo setters, defensive midfielders, destroyers. There's too many different types. I hope there aren't any wide midfielders in here, like right and left. That'll make it a little too confusing, but hopefully it's just central midfielders. But you know, De Bruyne, your classic attacking midfielder. You know, he got a little box to box in this game. Great driving with the ball. I'll be upfront here. De Bruyne is like my favorite midfielder ever. So, so you probably could tell where I'm going. But still, Essien was a great servant for Chelsea. Low-key, good thing. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Man, I don't know Essien like that, but I know Kevin like that. And as much as I love to say Bruno superiority, I have to give it to Kevin for this matchup.
Yeah, Kevin,
easy.
that guy. Ooh.
Oh, I mean, I say, this is not hard for me, but it's only hard in the sense that
It's the disrespectful.
it's only hard in the sense that the guy I'm not picking, I really like as a player. Like, even though I don't think they're on the same level, I really do like him as a player. But I'll let you guys. If either of you want to go first.
It's got to be Iniesta. It has to be. It has to be.
Yes, sir. Iniesta's that dude, man. This dude was
He's that guy. He's still going in China or some shit, man. Like, he's still going.
Yeah, he had a run in Japan. He had a run. Yeah, but before we move on, we're not going to see him again. I just want to give some flowers to Yaya Toure, just to let the people know we now are just some, 2025 only soccer fans who don't know who Yaya Toure is. That guy, we talk about doing a little bit of everything. Yaya Toure is like the damn near complete midfielder, bro. Like, he can destroy, can pass, can shoot. Like, you want to talk about like, if you think about peak Pogba, like at Juventus, like that level, Yaya Toure was that before Pogba, bro. Like, he's just like so fun to watch. Back when he was on Barcelona, great on them. He came over to City, destroyed the Premier League, helped them win their first Premier League. Like, I don't know, Yaya Toure is just a legendary player. But the thing here is he's probably like in that table 2 level midfielder, and Iniesta is like peak of the sport. So it's kind of hard to really compare. Ooh, interesting. This is annoying because they put Rodri with the Ballon d'Or. So,
yeah, they're really.
But here we got Rodri versus Isco. Interesting. I gotta think about this one if you guys know exactly where you're going.
No, I do too. Like, with Isco, the thing is, when I think of those moments, like those Champions Leagues they won, Isco isn't the one who comes to my mind as like who is helping secure those wins and rack up those victories. Surely he had a part to play, no doubt. But you're comparing to then Rodri, who just won the Ballon d'Or, and what he's done. I mean,
it's tough. It shouldn't be this tough. It really shouldn't be. Considering, like you just said, Rodri has arguably, if you want to go by Ballon d'Or metric, been the best player in the sport at a given point in time, and you could never have said that about Isco. But like you said, at that time, I think Isco gets a little underrated because of that Madrid team. If you look at like the ideal Madrid team from that time, Isco doesn't start. Like you would think it's like Cruz, Modric, Casemiro, and then BBC up top. Pause. And but the thing is, Gareth Bale was so injured at the time that Isco ended up playing a lot. They would play like a little diamond or something with Ronaldo and Benzema up top. And Isco was really good. Like, he was really good at that time. He's definitely quality to start for that team. I don't know if I can. I don't know if I can pick him over someone. Like I just watched Rodri for a year. Obviously, he just injured last year, but the year before that, like every game he played, basically he won. And if he was out, his team would struggle. Like that really. And then City, obviously, when he was out for the entire year last year, was the worst City team we've seen in a decade. So
yeah,
that's tough. What do you think, Eric? If you have any thoughts.
My question is, are you guys gonna go with the guy who has 4 Club World Cup victories or 1 Club World Cup victory?
Fuck the Club World Cup, man. What?
Club World Cup is crazy, bro. It's crazy.
You could have said Champions League or anything else. Like
Club World Cup.
Listen, man, this all ties back to the beginning, man. How much do we really care about this tournament, man?
Club World Cup literally is the Madrid tournament. I mean, I guess Champions League is too. I mean, everything's a Madrid tournament, but they just win. But
Champions League though, that's historically like.
And to be fair, Isco does have more Champions Leagues than Rodri too, so I guess you could also go with that.
That's the one trophy, the one stat line I could see with Isco, but it goes back to my original point of that team already being so stacked with players. That's like I can't mentally attribute that much success to Isco and the part he played. He played his part in the team, but he wasn't,
that guy,
the creator. He wasn't that guy. Yeah,
I agree.
That's fair. Rodri.
So, Rodri it is.
Oh,
Ooh.
Interesting. Okay, we have Pedri.
This is hard.
Versus Cesc Fabregas.
Fabregas is goated, but Pedri, he's also really so good. Young.
This is tough.
Yeah, that's what I was.
Yeah.
That's what I have to go with. It's unfortunate because I love Pedri, but
yeah,
come on.
I go with Fabregas. Like
that's tough. Like here's the thing. I think I know we can't project. It's 2024, but I think by the end of his career, Pedri might end up table 1. Like I think he's that good.
Oh yeah,
but
this is nothing against Pedri.
Cesc is like table 2. So that's projection, though. I don't think I've ever seen anyone play a long ball like Cesc Fabregas. Like his long ball, especially in that Chelsea kit when we were linked up with Diego Costa. Oh my God, bro! This Cesc Fabregas just pick it up from the center back, ping it over everyone. Diego Costa just take it down on the chest, like it was just like clockwork, bro. I got to go with Cesc. Like Barcelona too, Arsenal. Like he went crazy. Oh, okay. I wouldn't think either of these would be. I know this is randomized. I don't think either of these would be in the top 16. But
I don't got knowledge of Wesley like that, so
Wesley Sneijder.
I'm just gonna go Silva
versus Bernardo Silva. I might go Wesley Sneijder. I only say this because, and I'm not gonna act like I was super I was watching at the time, but like in my historian bag, the 2010 Champions League run, and that was like a very underdog Inter Milan team where Mourinho took over that team. He wanted to coach Barcelona. They snubbed him for Pep, who was like a basically no experienced coach at the time, like a B team coach, and Mourinho had already done what he'd done with Chelsea. They snubbed him, went with Pep. That ended up being the greatest team ever. But in 2010, he took over Inter Milan with a lot of older guys who were on their way out. Diego Milito, crazy run, Maicon, a bunch of older players, Zanetti, and Wesley Sneijder was one of the best players of that year. and I think he was like in the top 3 or something for Ballon d'Or. Like it was crazy for that run. And then I think Netherlands also in that 2010 World Cup was really solid too. Bernardo Silva is good, but like he's never been the best midfielder at City.
The way you talk about Wesley Sneijder now, too, you convinced me. Like,
no, here's the thing. I don't want to just go off that because obviously Silva's won like 6 or 7 or maybe like 5 Premier League.
No, but it goes back to what we just said for Isco, even. You know, when you go to those City sides that won those titles and won those championships, like, how much of that is Silva?
But I also think last year is clouding my vision because last year he wasn't that good. But before that, he was really good. I won't lie.
Yeah.
But I don't think anyone would have ever, obviously not over De Bruyne. And I think at times people would have put like Gundogan over him in terms of like clutch performances. The thing about Silva I like though, he's very versatile. Like he'll play right wing, he'll play midfield, he'll be playing a little bit of everything. I don't know. Peak for peak, I might have to go Wesley Sneijder. I'm not gonna lie, but don't let that deter you. You guys can go either way. What do you guys think?
Alexi, what do you think, man?
I changed my opinion. I mean, I'm a City hater anyways, so I already gave De Bruyne his credit. I don't need to give another.
Wasn't because Wesley was on that. Did you speak to his like time on like the Netherlands like national side too?
Yeah, I only briefly mentioned that that 2010, but if you wanted to
I was gonna say like that was also like I don't know, man. This is tough. I'll go Wesley Sneijder as well. I mean, at this point, it doesn't really matter because you guys both went, but
we could talk about that more when he comes back up. Oh, this one's easy. Oh, this one,
I mean, look at the pictures, bro.
Toni Kroos versus
Toni Kroos.
But yeah, this is shout out Fabinho. You know, he's a solid servant. Honestly, really good for Liverpool.
Solid servant, man. Crazy phrase. This ain't the 1800s, man.
You thought of it like that, which tells me about your mind. But I think he was one of the best DMs in the Prem for a long time. But I mean, we're talking about one of the best midfielders ever. So I mean, see you later, buddy.
Down in the DM. See ya, buddy.
Oh, we gotta. Okay,
here's what we gotta go.
No, here's what we'll do. Actually, no, because I don't want him to go out. So I guess I'll agree with what you're gonna say, Eric. You're gonna say by default we go David Silva. I was gonna say let's make Iniesta Xavi because Xavi they're basically the same. But if Xavi shows up in the next one, then I'll be tight. So that's the only thing. What do you guys think?
Yeah. Let's just go Silva, man.
Yeah.
I don't want to, but yeah.
Man. I mean, I know where I'm going.
I'm going Ozil.
I'm also going Ozil. Well, the viewers know.
How do you pronounce his name? How do you even pronounce his name?
Ozil?
Is it Ozil?
It's like Mesut Ozil.
Wait, say how you're going to say, Eric?
Nah, I was just
no, say that.
I was like, like
there probably is a better pronunciation than how we're saying it, but that's how I've heard it pronounced by like English speakers anyway.
Yeah.
But just let the viewers know it's Mesut Ozil versus Fernandinho. But to me, this is not really that close. Shout out to Fernandinho. He's also a good servant for City, but Ozil was like one of the best. If not, he's probably the last great attacking midfielder, other than like De Bruyne, like of like that generation of 10s, like him at Madrid to Arsenal. That kind of player has died out a bit. Like there's not really,
and it doesn't make sense.
Like systematically, it hasn't really worked out because all these teams just want to pass, whatever. Like he's the guy who will play that final killer pass that you don't really see guys going for. So I got to go Ozil.
Yeah.
Different players, though. Different players.
Very, very different. Hard to compare.
Ooh.
Oh,
this is tough.
Shout out
Iniesta
Ozil
versus Ozil.
I know where I'm going. I was gonna say this is tough, but I have My mind.
Shout out Ozil, but we know.
We're talking.
We know.
We know what's going on here. Oh, okay. I feel like I'm gonna have to make a case. I feel like I'm gonna have to make
You are Tony Kroos versus Kevin De Bruyne. Kroos any day. He is that guy. In all the games I've seen featuring these two, Kroos was always the guy, whether for Madrid or the national team of Germany. Bro was making the most clutch passes and clutch moves every single time. Every time he had a free kick in the final minute, you felt like this guy's going to score or give a crazy assist, and that happened. De Bruyne, class act, sure, but not the same.
Here's
not
the issue.
Same.
Here's the issue.
And just look at the numbers, man.
Okay, if you stack up his Premier Leagues, he has a trophy cabinet too. Here's the issue: you're a City hater and a closeted Madrid fan, so I was never ever going to be able to. I was never going to convince you. It's really. Well, I'm gonna see where you're leaning first, Eric, and then I'm gonna see if I can push you the other way.
I was gonna say, man, like it's gonna be hard. I know previously we were talking about how tournament wins may not speak to your ability as much. You know, it may not be a good enough, like, I guess you could say, like, argument to win you a face-to-face battle. But like when it comes to these two, when they're both prevalent on their squads, like it's kind of hard to overlook the hardware for Tony Kroos, I will say. And it's just, I don't know, man. This guy's a goated midfielder, man. You can't and I love De Bruyne, man. I love De Bruyne, and it pains me because I'm a Barca fan, and I think my affinity for Barca is more than my affinity for Man U, but it's tough, man. Kroos is this is tough. I have Kroos potentially winning this entire thing.
Really? Okay.
Potentially.
Let me make my case. And I know it's an uphill battle because I think these are both table one midfielders.
Yes.
For me personally. Here's the thing. Are we going off of career achievements or who's the better player?
It's both. That's what we've been doing.
I think for both of those, obviously, no, for career achievements, it's Kroos because he's on the best team in the world. I think if you put De Bruyne on Madrid, you get the same results. I honestly believe that. Kevin De Bruyne, if we talk about Man City before Kevin De Bruyne, they bring him in. I think at the time, who was the coach? Was it still Pellegrini? I think at the time, brings him in. That's before Pep even gets there. De Bruyne instantly, he comes from Wolfsburg. Well, obviously he came from Chelsea before that, don't remind me. And then he went to Wolfsburg. He helped Wolfsburg win their first cup in however many years. That's a team that doesn't even sniff trophies out in Germany. So he's doing it for a lesser team. This is not just Kroos, who played for Bayern and then Madrid, the best teams in the world constantly. De Bruyne did it on an underdog team out in Germany. He came to City, flipped that team around. Pep comes in. He's like, you're the guy. And then we're talking about a system. Man City is a system. If you want to talk about the players like Foden, who are like, oh, he might be exposed as like a system guy. All the things that a lot of people about football these days is because of that Man City system. Go out there, pass it back, pass teams to death. Pep is the one player alongside even the team with Yaya Toure or David Silva, or all these great players. De Bruyne is the one player that Pep Guardiola, arguably the greatest coach of all time, identified in that City team as, you are the system breaker. Out of all these players, I'm allowing you to do whatever you want and be creative as you want. Because Kevin De Bruyne has everything. He can carry. If you see Kevin De Bruyne pick up the ball and carry the ball forward, it's like nothing you've ever seen. His strides are beautiful. His final ball, that beautiful ball from the half right space into the back post. Kevin De Bruyne single-handedly made Raheem Sterling a great all-time Premier League player just on stats. Sterling, if you see Sterling in any other team, you see Sterling right now, dude's a bomb. Sterling is scoring damn near 20 goals a season just off to Kevin De Bruyne placing it to the back post and just hit his body and went in the goal. Sterling didn't even have to shoot because Sterling can't finish to save his life. That's all off Kevin De Bruyne. If you want to talk about records, Kevin De Bruyne, before him, no one was sniffing 20 assists other than Thierry Henry in like 2002 or 2004 or something. Kevin De Bruyne went and hit 20 assists in 2 separate seasons for Man City. That's a record that no one else is even sniffing. If you want to talk about big games, Kevin De Bruyne came back from injury. I think it was 2022 or 2023. You remember that game against, I think, Villa? He came back, scored, came back after the injury, scored the game, got a last-minute assist, helped them win the league on the last day with 100 points over Liverpool. That was just straight off of him. If you want to talk about head-to-head with Real Madrid, go back, check every stat, every game record from City, Madrid over the last decade in the Champions League. De Bruyne showed up in every single one. He's like famous for scoring against Real Madrid in those games, but Real Madrid was just a better team. That's why you see them advancing and Kroos advancing. And that's not to diss Kroos. He's an all-time amazing player. But if you want to talk about just as an individual, I think Kevin De Bruyne is still better. And even talk about Belgium, this dude was putting Belgium on his back. Him and Hazard were going to work for Belgium when they went on a crazy run in 2018. And Germany's always had the better team than Belgium, so that's not even really a fair comparison.
Nah, but Kroos was a big part of that too.
Yeah, he's also a big part of the Germany getting bounced in 2018 like they were bums, and in 2022 they were terrible.
That was towards the later end of his career. You can't tell me De Bruyne in more recent times has been carrying Belgium like he was prime, 10 years ago.
2018, he was in his prime, and De Bruyne was better at that tournament than Kroos. They were both in their prime, band for band, and De Bruyne was better. I'm not saying I'm not going to be upset if you guys choose Kroos. Obviously, he's like I said, they're both table one. But I think if you look at De Bruyne's resume, it's sneakily underrated. I think only years later, when we see he was the last creative 10, and no one else is going to play that final ball like he will, you're going to be like, damn, bro, the sport's gone. He's an artist, bro. He's an artist.
Just wait for Bruno to break those stats, man. Just wait.
I think these are both artists, though, at their position, though. Like, these are both people who, like, when it comes to their passing game, it's insane. It's an art. And I think if you, like, look at their games, you have, I wouldn't say they're similar, but, like, a lot of their strengths do intersect. But I have to say Kroos, man. Kroos, I think when it comes to it's hard, man.
I'm just laughing because you could have stopped me before I went on a 20-minute
rant. No, you said let me try and convince you. It was a beautiful rant. It was a beautiful rant. I gotta commend you for having those stats on the top of your head like that.
Genuinely, like, my phone is really off. Like, that was literally just like, this is my guy. De Bruyne is my guy, bro. But I
love him too. I love him too.
Kroos is, he's table one for sure. It's kind of a shame we don't have Modric in here. I know it's randomized, but I think Modric, if we're going to put it out there, I think Modric is better. Personally, I think Modric is better than Kroos.
Interesting. That's hard.
I'd agree.
Oh, okay. We got Rodri versus Wesley Sneijder. Schneider? I don't know. One of them. Interesting. I mean, like we said about the last matchup with Rodri in it, the fact that he had the Ballon d'Or feels like a trump card in some of these matchups. But I will say, in a time where the Ballon d'Or every year will be won by either Messi or Ronaldo, the fact that Wesley Sneijder was even in that conversation, I think is honestly more impressive than Rodri.
I was about to say, with the timing of it, like Rodri, I mean, it was just Vinny was the other big name for the Ballon d'Or. And
Rodri's not sniffing a Ballon d'Or in 2010 against Messi. Rodri's not even better than Sergio Busquets, and he's not even in this, unfortunately. But Rodri's not better than Sergio Busquets, bro. So, and Sergio Busquets wasn't sniffing a Ballon d'Or next to Messi or Ronaldo, even next to Xavi or Iniesta. So, Rodri's not even near that. Does that mean Sneijder's better? It's hard to compare two completely different types of midfielders, but I think Sneijder's Champions League with Inter is more impressive than Rodri's Champions League with City. But obviously, he's won a ton of Premier Leagues. This is actually really tough.
I will say I'm more familiar with Rodri's game.
Same.
I think with the numbers too and everything, like with Rodri,
It's hard, yeah.
The same way I was talking about Cruz and what he did with Madrid, you could argue. Similarly
the hardware.
with Rodri. The hardware.
Yeah, I agree. I'd have to go Rodri, but it's pretty close, I think, too.
Yeah.
That was good.
Fabregas.
Ooh. Hold on. This is tough. I don't like how you just said Fabregas like it was nothing, man.
I never messed with Silva like that. I never.
You're a City hater. Yeah, I forgot.
I was a hater. And
I'm inclined to go with Fabregas too because of Chelsea, but David Silva, I feel like gets underrated these days. Bro, David Silva was magical. Like before the brand came in. Bro, he's so good. He would have fit in perfectly with that like 2010 around then Barca team with like Xavi and Iniesta. I think David Silva is damn near on their level, but and even at Spain, you saw he was playing with them perfectly, but he just wasn't on that team, and they had the hard way to prove it. But he won a bunch of international silverware with Spain too. He was part of those teams. So was Cesc, but I wonder. I mean, maybe I have to check in those Spain teams who got more playing time. I think that'd be a big indicator of who. Cause they were around similar, a lot of overlap. Basically, their careers are almost perfectly overlapped. I wonder who got. I feel like Silva played more, but
I was gonna say I feel like Fabregas did.
Honestly, maybe I know Xabi Alonso was also in those teams. So honestly, it's kind of hard to say because really the starting three would have been the Barcelona starting three. So really, all these guys are probably fighting for time outside of Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets. Damn, I don't know. They both won Premier Leagues, multiple Premier Leagues. This is actually a toss-up. I'm willing to hear you guys out, and if you guys both go one way, then it is what it is. But I honestly think this one's really close.
I got nothing more to say than just from the time when I was getting into watching the Prem early on and seeing these two play. Fabregas was always the one who left the mark on me and watching what he did in the midfield. Silva, not only just the play, but just the vibe check with Silva was not it. You know what? I know that's not a valid reason. I know we're talking about trophies and
No, but I think eye test matters.
What they do on the field.
Me, eye test matters a lot.
But for me, the eye test, he didn't pass it.
I think that's the crazy part because for me, the eye test Silva is silky.
Also, though, mind you, last time I saw this dude play was like what?
Damn near
10 years ago?
Could be fair.
Like,
could be fair. That was a while ago.
So,
same period. I guess for both of them. It was many minutes.
Yeah.
What do you think, Eric?
This is tough. But I feel like Fabregas, wasn't he better like at a younger age? Like I know that may not mean much,
that's
but
true.
like he did like I remember he was captain on Arsenal and he was a youngin', man. Young
Super
dog.
Young.
But we're picking hairs.
Yeah, and I would say he came through in that Arsenal team that was like, to be fair to him, that Arsenal team was like transitioning out of being the best among the best teams in the league, and then they went through like a down period, but he was like their best player carrying them through that period. To be fair to him. But he went to Barcelona and didn't quite, he couldn't break into the starting 11 there. So that's why he came back to the Prem. I don't know. It seems like you guys are both leading Cesc, so I'm down to go that way. But shout out David Silva. I'm going to vote for David Silva just to give him his respect.
Yeah. Nah, no respect here. Final matchup.
Tough. I'm sorry. I love you, Cesc, but if I couldn't make the case for De Bruyne, I can't make the case for you, bro. You're cooked, bro. You're cooked.
Yeah. Cruz, Fabregas, it's like you said it. It's Cruz.
Toni Cruz.
It's that easy.
Iniesta. Iniesta and Rodri are the two. But
do we even need to talk?
Yeah.
Good run by Rodri though.
Yeah.
Good run by
Lucky
Roger.
shambolic run, bro. You got a little Mickey Mouse run, but to me, this is not close.
To me,
Okay, that's disrespectful. It's close, but
it's good.
to me, like I don't have to debate this in my mind at all.
To me, these are like I'm gonna make a comparison. It's like a Socrates or an Aristotle. You got, or whichever one of those came first. I think it was Socrates. That first
You should know.
philosopher. I should know. and then you got the one still renowned, Plato, but he came after, and he had his own ideas. He did things differently. Still both renowned, but one just has that extra sauce. Iniesta has that sauce.
What do you think, Eric? I know you also like Barca too, so maybe that
I
influences.
was gonna say, like, I'm not trying to let my bias play into it, but this is insane. This is like S tier. These are both S tier midfielders, and it's hard, but and they were both around for so long, which is like the very interesting thing too. It's like you can't say that you would pick one over the other just based on, like, you gotta pick small, like, I don't know. You could say like Cruz, his like talent was, or like his strength came in the passing, right? Like his passing was elite, but I don't know, man. Like Iniesta could really just like, man, I'm just getting flashbacks to like the way he would just like carry the ball up, like the way he dribbled, but also just like think about the game-winning goal in the 2010 World Cup, man. Like that was a crazy goal, man.
Big game player.
I was gonna say both of these are big game players, though. You know, like both of these are that. But Iniesta, I think, given just the way he would, I know we were talking about like De Bruyne being like the disruptor of the system, but like I think Iniesta was that perfect, like could fit into any kind of system and was that ideal player that you would want at the midfield. And I think he was lucky enough to have like great teammates around him, and like he's fortunate enough to be part of like that like very special Spain team, like all that, those Barca teams. But I'm gonna have to go with Iniesta on this one.
Here's the thing. I was worried because of earlier you said Cruz might win the whole thing. Gladly, I do not have to make the case for Iniesta, but I'll just give you the one main reason.
20-minute rant.
Yeah, I'll give you the one main reason. Other than the fact, like you said, just eye test. Obviously, Cruz is ridiculous eye test too, but Iniesta, you just can't take the ball off this guy. Like his dribbling is just ridiculous.
It's like a magnet.
Literally. But the main reason I'll give it to Iniesta is because I think out of all competitions, you could say Champions League for some, but I think those international competitions are like some of the hardest to win, also because they're the less frequent to like Champions Leagues, for example. And obviously Cruz is on the Champions League winning machine and is a big part of that. But Iniesta, one, was on the best team, in my opinion, of all time, in that Barca team in 2009. And two, those Spain teams, the correlation of him, unfortunately Xavi and Busquets aren't in this just through randomization, but the correlation of him winning 2008, 2010, 2012 back to back, I don't think we'll ever see that done again. And I think that pairing, even the fact that him and Xavi used to like wear 6 and 8 and they used to swap the numbers too, just they had a little like a nice little buddy thing going on. But yeah, I just think that international run is like untouchable for most other midfielders to ever reach that level. So Iniesta for me, arguably the greatest ever, I think, in the midfield. I think only people that could compete with him are Xavi or like Zidane or something. Like it's like different level to me. But,
yeah, kind of crazy we didn't get Zidane in this.
Yeah, honestly, you could literally do this again and get 16 different players that are all
because I think
the crazy level.
This was fun, y'all. We gotta run this back at some point.
Okay, that was really fun. Pirlo in there, Kaká, Modric makes sense. De Bruyne, Xavi's kind of low. I'm not gonna lie. Gerrard, Lampard. A lot of low-key Pogba. I don't know,
Muller.
peak Pogba, IHS, crazy.
I'm surprised he's below Pogba.
Yeah, that is interesting. That is interesting.
Yeah,
that is really interesting. Yeah, I honestly think if we ran this back and we could get 16 different players that we can have a really interesting conversation about as well. But that was a lot of fun. I definitely want to do something like that again, especially going into that more. You say historical, it's only like the last 25 years, but somewhat historical back, talking about players that we've all watched over there and reminisce a little bit. I think the modern game, week to week, it can get a little stuffy to talk about. Too much narrative.
Get in the weeds,
Yeah, too much narrative and all this stuff, and too much emotion with the current stuff. Even though I got a little emotional making my De Bruyne case over Kroos. I'm never gonna forget that, man.
You can't see it through the glasses, but bro was crying underneath.
When you took that Kroos side of the thing, man, I shed a tear. I'm not gonna lie. No, that was fun though for sure. Any last thoughts?
Nah, man.
More of these.
Yeah, what if we
Got to
find
do
some
more of these? We need more midfielders like this in the game today, man.
That too.
That's the message of the day.
And we got guys like Musiala injured. Like those are the type of players you want to see, and we got to keep them healthy, man. But thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed that. We definitely did, as we said multiple times. It's a replay, but we'll see you guys next week. We're gonna keep it going. Like, subscribe, all that good stuff. We'll see who wins the Club World Cup. We'll see who. That's actually the main competition we're really looking out for right now. Not much else going on now that the Gold Cup is over, but we'll stay tapped in, see what's going on with sneaker news, fashion, sports, NBA offseason, all the stuff. So catch you guys next week. Peace.
Peace out, y'all. Have a good one.